Alma 2 truly reads as a fantasy novel, but this is real scripture. The Book of Mormon is so cool. Civil war breaks out. Unexpected alliance. A righteous city is under siege. Welcome to day 97 of the Seek Him First Book of Mormon Challenge. Amlici rises up as a rebellious dissenter. He wants to be king. The voice of the people denies him, and he gets angry and stirs up his followers to make him a ruler. So they consecrate him to be their king. And we see back in Mosiah 29:12 that only God can display a full righteous judgment on people. As humans, we don't know someone's full story. We don't know their intents of their heart. So only God can truly place righteous judgment on people. So that's why Mosiah said not to have kings, because they have a tendency to get wicked. They decide to rise up against the Nephites. They called themselves Amlicites. So two armies collide, and they, with Alma being on their side, he's the chief judge and the governor of his people. So he fights courageously on the front lines with his people. But Amlici, he's a coward, and he sends his captains and rulers without him. But they go into battle, and Alma's on the front lines, and they slew many. 12,000 of the Amlicites died, and about 6,000 of the Nephites died. So they slew them with a mighty slaughter, but they still had loss on their side. They fled away out into the wilderness, and Alma sent 4 spies to go make sure they didn't come attack them again, kind of get some foresight. They followed the Amlicites into the wilderness, and they found out that they were in alliance with the Lamanites, and they were numerous as the sands of the sea. That's what it says. They were numerous as the sands of the sea. That is so crazy. So an army without number is coming to slay them. They decide to flee. They're in the land of Gideon, and they're trying to go back to their city Zarahemla. They're trying to cross this river called the River Sidon, and they get approached by the Amlicites and the Nephites, and they start contending. They slew them with a mighty slaughter because Alma asked God to help them. He prayed mightily to God, and the people prayed mightily to God. Nevertheless, the Nephites, being strengthened by the hand of the Lord, having prayed mightily to him that he would deliver them out of the hands of their enemies, therefore the Lord did hear their cry and did strengthen them, and the Lamanites and the Amlicites did fall before them. And it came to pass that Alma fought Amlici with the sword. So he came face to face with Amlici, and he cried to the Lord, O Lord, have mercy and spare my life, that I may be an instrument in thy hands to save and preserve this people. And now Alma had said these words, and he contended against Amlici, and he was strengthened, insomuch that he slew him with the sword. Alma then contends against the king of the Lamanites, and he fled, and then he contends against his guards, and they also fled. They're attacking them at the River Sidon, and there were so many of them being slain that Alma used their bodies for them to cross the river. Man, what a gory scene that I'm picturing in my head. Like, this is insane. They used the bodies in order to cross the river. And at the end, it talks about whoever they didn't slay in their might with God's strength ended up being devoured by ravenous beasts and vultures in the wilderness. I know that in my life, anytime I've asked God to help contend with me, I came out on top. It didn't come without loss and without sacrifice, but I always came out victorious in the end when I've had God on my side. What battles have you conquered because of God, and how is He strengthening you? How does this chapter strengthen your faith?